Jungle Scout just expanded their already powerful suite of Amazon product research tools with the release of their game-changing Supplier database. In this video, I have the founder and CEO of Jungle Scout, Greg Mercer, with me, and he's excited to introduce to us how their new tool is changing how Amazon sellers like you and me will search and vet suppliers from now on. But first, my name is Crescent. If this is our first time meeting, welcome to my channel. My passion is sharing tips and strategies on how you can create a successful Amazon FBA private label business. So if you enjoy videos like this, or especially if you've been around my channel, consider subscribing. All right, let's get started. Hey Greg, it's great to have you on my channel. I've already had a chance to use the new Supplier database, so I know how revolutionary and powerful it is, and I'm excited to have you here to share it with my community. So without further ado, why don't you show us what you've been working on?
I'd love to. This is probably like the most exciting thing that I think Jungle Scout has launched, maybe in the history of Jungle Scout, but at least the past few years. And let me give you a little bit of the motivation behind this. We work with a lot of Amazon sellers. I'm an Amazon seller myself. And, back in the day, my biggest pain point was finding good opportunities to sell on Amazon. That's why Jungle Scout was originally born and created. And I'd say after we, optimized that for kind of a while, my next biggest pain point, or probably what my biggest one was, just like a month ago, was finding good factories, okay? Now, of course, there's sites out there like Alibaba and like Global Sources, and they have tons of factories on them, like probably literally millions, right? But the problem with it is it's really hard to gauge the quality of the factory. That's really what it comes down to, I would contact a whole bunch of factories. Only a few would respond, which was frustrating to start with. But then after that, it's really hard to gauge how quality these factories are. Like, one, are they reputable? Are they going to run off my money? Are they going to make a good product? Two, what is like the quality of the actual, production runs that they make? I would of course order a sample to try to gauge this, but it's like when they're only making one sample, of course they're going to give that one like extra love, right? It's just always a little bit better than like the production run of 1,000 of them. So I was like, okay, how can we solve this problem? And to do that, we came up with this really cool approach. Okay, so when you import anything into the US from anywhere in the world, so this isn't just China, anywhere in the world, you have to fill out some paperwork and give it to the government, essentially the Customs and Border Protection. And in there, you have to fill out information like where you're purchasing the goods from, who's purchasing them, what's in the container or the shipment, a description of the goods, a quantity of the goods, all this information, okay? So everyone, whenever they import something into the US, that paperwork gets filled out and submitted. A lot of times it's done by your freight forwarder, so people don't realize it, but that's what happens. And there's this law in the US called the Freedom of Information Act. And through this law, we're actually able to gain access to all this data. So we got all this data. It's like hundreds of millions of rows of data. We put it inside a database, and we came out with some cool and innovative ways to search through this data in order to find really good factories. Now let me go ahead and share my screen. This is going to make a little bit more sense when you see my screen. So this functionality is inside of the Jungle Scout web app. And actually, if you already have access to it, then you have this. Like right now, we're not charging extra money for this. People have called us complete idiots for not charging more money for this, but that's beside the point. So there's 3 different ways that you can search through this data. I have by product, by company, and by supplier. So let's just start right here with product. And I'm just gonna type something in, let's say I wanna sell backpacks on Amazon. I can just search this. And what this is doing is this is searching through the bill of ladings to see which ones have backpacks, okay? So each of these cards right here is a factory. And on here, you get pieces of information. Like, for example, this one, there's been 556 shipments. They have 62 customers. These are their customers. This one's pretty crazy because you can see that their customers are Osprey, Lululemon, Michael Kors, Oakley, North Face, Duluth, Marmot, LL Bean. So these are all very well-known brands in the US, and it's crazy that all these companies get their backpacks made by this one factory in Vietnam. So that was the first thing that blew my mind. It's like, whoa, all these, like, essentially, this is all just branding being stuck on top of, goods is ultimately what you find out that it comes down to. But that's probably a topic for a different YouTube. So what I can do is I can expand and I can see all the shipments from this factory, how many shipments come in each month, and then I can see the details of them. So, With this particular search, we're searching through the shipment descriptions, and this is what the factory or the freight forwarder fills out. So you'll see that sometimes it's a little bit like messy verbiage, but this just comes directly from the bill of lading. So, we see that Osprey, which is, I think they're primarily known for their backpacks, actually. This is what backpacks and accessories, this is what, I don't know, a bunch of different companies are using to get their backpacks, right? So this is a pretty cool way to search through it. This alone, I think, is just as good or better than Alibaba. But let me show you my favorite way to search through this, all right? And this is by company. So by using this, you can see how or who companies are purchasing their goods for, all right? So let me give you an example. And this is the company that you write on the bill of lading or on this government paperwork when you submit it. So for example, here at Jungle Scout, the name of our legal entity is JS Operating Company, okay? So that's the name that we put kind of like on the bill of lading. So you can see right here, this is our address right here at the office here in Austin. And these are suppliers for our case study products. I can scroll down, I can look. We've done these case studies called the $1 Million Case Studies, and we sell marshmallow sticks, and that's our factory. We sold baby towels, that's our factory. We recently launched a new one, and that's our factory right there. So you can see who our factories are, which are pretty crazy. But let me show you the best way to use this, okay? So for this example, we'll just use my baby towels as an example. On here, my Jungle Snugs baby towels are somewhere here. But what I can do is I can use this to find the factory of the top rated products on Amazon. So this one right here at the top, this is probably one of my biggest competitors. As you can see, they have tons of reviews. It's 4.5 stars, so pretty high quality. So what I can do is I can go in here and I can either find the top rated product on Amazon or who I just think has the best product. And I can search for them inside of our database, okay? So I'm gonna copy this, Hudson Baby. And remember, what I said was you're supposed to be searching for the legal entity, all right? But let me show you something really cool here momentarily. So Hudson Baby is the name of the brand, right? I know that because I'm looking at the Amazon listing right here, Hudson Baby. And remember, on the bill of ladings that you submit, they put their legal entity name, okay? So what happens, I just searched for that, and it turns out that Hudson Baby is not the name of a legal entity. I know that because there's none that popped up. But something that we recently added that's makes this really powerful is this little tooltip, and it says, it looks like Hudson Baby is actually a brand, not a legal entity, and it's owned by this legal entity, Baby Vision Inc. So this is really powerful because now I know what the company name is that owns Hudson Baby. And in this case, it's Baby Vision. So I can click on that, and now it's going to do another search for Baby Vision instead of Hudson Bay. And I can see, that's this company right here. And now what I can do is I can actually go down here and I can see who they're using for their factories. So it looks like this is probably their factory right here. I can click this little eye to zoom in on it a little bit. And I can see right here that this particular factory, they've had 9 shipments in the past, since we started collecting data, January 1st, 2015. These are who their customers are. You can see right there, it's Baby Vision. And you can see, how many shipments they've had and who else their customers are. And it's interesting because it looks like they just started using this factory actually within the past few months. So alternatively, what I could do is I could go back and I could look at Baby Vision. I could see who they were using before that. It looks like it was probably this factory. We can dig in and look at them. So yeah, it looks like they were using that for a few months before that. And I could continue to look back at all of Baby Vision's import history to see all the factories they've used over time. So as you can imagine, this is a really powerful thing to do, to be able to go in here. And it doesn't work 100% of the time, but I'd say about 80 or 90% of the time, I'm actually able to go in there and find factories. There are some edge cases where these companies have hidden the importer on record pretty well by using like a shell company or a different name or something like that. But about 80 or 90% of the time, I am able to find that. So this is now how I go about doing my product research. Instead of going to Alibaba and just contacting dozens of factories, instead I just find whoever gets the best or the highest ratings on Amazon and just see who they use. So, if I wanted to sell marshmallow sticks again, these are jungle sticks right here at the top. If I wanted to sell these again, instead of going to Alibaba and searching for marshmallow sticks, I would just do so on Amazon. If I wanted to sell this style, these guys have the best reviews. Like 2,000 reviews, 4.8 stars, and those look about the same as this one in the photo, but obviously this is a higher quality factory because it's getting better reviews. So now what I can do is, again, I can just type this in to the supplier database. So let's go ahead and do MoloMe. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to type them in. And again, I see this little tooltip right here, and it says MoloMe is a brand and owned by Truthful Trading Inc. So this is what makes it really powerful, right? Now I can search for Truthful Trading Inc. And there we go. There they are, this top result. It's a Canadian company, it looks like. But I can look at all of their imports. And I'm going to scroll down. And, they sell a whole bunch of different types of stuff, right? First aid kits, umbrellas, tumblers. But right here, I see barbecue forks. That's probably what they're calling their marshmallow stick fork things. And I can click on that factory. And there they are. This is the factory right here. This factory, it looks like makes a few different types of things, but this is who they're using. And I can just click right here for their contact info. And this just searches their name right here on Google. And this is probably, it looks like this is both them, these top two results. So I can just click through there and then contact them. So this is now like the best way to gauge the quality of factories, right? Instead of trying to guess by basing it off the sample or whatever else, now all I do is I just go in there, I just see, what factories are making the top rated products on Amazon, and then I just, use that to gauge the quality. So it's a really, really powerful thing. Let me show you the last way to search through this, because this also works well. Let's pretend that, I was already using Alibaba, or for whatever reason, I still wanted to do so. Let's go ahead and just find another, let's see, marshmallow sticks. Let's go ahead and just find another factory. So let's see. I'm just going to click on, let's say this first one right here. And it looks like this is the name of the factory, Shenzhen Cohen Technology. So if you've already found a factory, now I can just use the supplier database to vet the factory, okay? So I can search for this factory, and I can see what kind of imports they've had into the US, okay? And something to keep in mind here, whenever I see like there's two here, actually this might be two different factories. It looks like it is, okay? So let's look at this particular factory. It looks like they've actually only had 2 shipments into the US in the past 5 years, and they were actually all the way back in 2016, So what's interesting here is, like if I was just on Alibaba, I probably would have contacted this factory, because I see they've been around for 6 years, they're a gold supplier, all this kind of stuff. But when I actually look at their import history, they haven't really imported that much into the US, which is a little bit of a red flag for me. I would prefer finding a factory that has more imports into the US and does so more frequently. Because to me, that's a good gauge that they're more of a legitimate factory. There's much less of a chance of any fraudulent behavior or anything like that, because I know they're frequently doing this. And then what I can do is I can check out, since I can see who their customers are, I can now take these customers and I can find out, who these customers are, what they make, and then I can check the reviews for these products on Amazon. So let's see, since this is back in 2016, they might not even be selling stuff anymore. But what I can do is, usually just through an easy Google search, I can find out some information about these companies. And let's see, it looks like these are probably their products, so I could click through, I can now find their website. I can see what products they make or what products they've been selling. And now I'd search for those products on Amazon. So let's see, inside of here, it looks like that they it looks like they did supply them barbecue forks. So let's see, I would go to their website. I would look for their barbecue forks, which they might not even be selling anymore since it's from 2016. But I could go in here, I could look at them, and then of course I would look for these products on Amazon to see what kind of reviews they got. Because ultimately, remember, what I care about is finding a factory that's legitimate, it's been vetted, is of high quality, and most importantly, produces a high quality product. And that's just the best way to gauge the quality of products from any factory, is to just check their Amazon reviews, because these are real customers that actually, after they receive this, are leaving real reviews. And that's ultimately what I care about, so that's just the best way to go about it. So yeah, that's the short of it. It's, as you guys can see, it's very powerful. Sometimes, just to warn you guys, this is, like I said, the data we're collecting is from these bill of ladings that people are submitting to this government database. Sometimes the data is like a little bit messy, or you have to kind of poke around a little bit or change the spelling a little bit. But just by playing around with it a little bit, like almost every time I can find the factory for any product, it's just super cool.
That's awesome, Greg. Appreciate you showing us how to use that and the power that it has in using that tool. I've been playing around with it too, and I can see how much value it's adding to being able to find and vet a supplier, because especially as a beginner, you're about to invest a whole bunch of your hard-earned money and give it to somebody you've never probably met in person or even seen before, and maybe only just talked over email. So this is a great way to see their track record, their history, who else they've been dealing with, and have more confidence in that supplier that you're about to give a whole bunch of money to.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I see a supplier that has a bunch of trade history and I can see who their customers are and everything else, now like the chances of them being some kind of fraudulent factory or whatever else are like pretty much zero, right? Like this is obviously now a real business that's looking for long-term customers. You can see the customers have been doing business with them for a long time. So yeah, you're totally right. It just like it greatly reduces the risk of getting a bad factory or anything else, just because you can see all this history. And something else that I'll add, like if you look on Alibaba, they claim different amounts of shipments or transaction levels or whatever else. But what I learned is that's all just self-submitted from the factories. And like there's no kind of like auditing or quality check like associated with that, right? So pretty much what you find every time is, of course, like they're over-reporting these numbers or changing them or whatever else. So that's why I love this data, because it's like this is straight from the import records. Like if you've imported into the US, you had to submit this paperwork. So like you can't fudge this, which is powerful for us.
That's awesome. So one question that actually popped up, kind of a strange question, is since you're doing kind of a reverse search than what Alibaba is offering on their website, is there any legal issues that might pop up, or any hurdles you might run into where the supplier might not want to sell to you, or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. These suppliers are, they're of course in the business of selling these goods, So we've already actually had a whole bunch reach out to us saying like, hey, I'm not in there, or how come you don't have my phone number on there, or like whatever else. So I think it's quite the opposite, that like they're pretty stoked about getting kind of like this additional business.
Great. Well, thank you. I hope everybody watching this video can see the power of using this new tool. So how can someone get access to using this again?
Yeah, we'll include a link in the description below, and it's built into our Jungle Scout web app product. So it starts at $39 per month, and even on that plan, you get unlimited searches to this data. So it's very inexpensive, like all things considered, right? To like just at least vet or like double check your factory. It seems like it'd almost be like a little bit reckless at this point not doing so for like it's pretty low insurance, right? To just like get a month, even if you only had a month of this, or like type it in and like check it. So I definitely encourage that. One other thing I just thought of that we actually didn't even speak about is one of the other really powerful parts of this is you can filter by what countries the factories are in. So, Alibaba is like 99% Chinese factories, and more people are trying to move outside of China, especially because of like kind of trade war tensions right now. Who knows how that will, play out. But the really nice thing about this is these are all the factories worldwide, anyone who imports into the US. So, you can find a lot of good factories in other parts of Asia. And then another common question we get is like, hey, I sell in like the most kind of like import data is like into the US, and pretty much like anyone who's selling on Europe or these other areas are probably also going to be selling into the US. So yes, you can definitely still find the factories that these really high quality US sellers are using, and then you can of course just import those into your respective countries instead of the US.
That's awesome. So what do you have planned in the future? Is there anything you can kind of let out and let us know?
Yeah, good question. So we're working on a lot of improvements to the supplier database right now. There's a whole bunch of cool, just additional stuff that we've thought of, but we want to just go ahead and get it out there and get people to start using it. I didn't even demo the part where you can start to save these suppliers, organize the suppliers in different groups. We want to move forward with that as far as almost organizing it like a CRM for all your suppliers, because one of the other pain points that Amazon sellers often tell us they have is like, if you contact 10 different factories about your product, it's hard to keep all of that organized, like all the communication organized, the different quotes, the sample pictures, whatever else. So really just within the next few weeks, you'll see a lot more of that functionality built right into the tool too. So a lot of exciting stuff down the pipeline. 2019 is a very exciting year for us.
That's awesome. That's great to hear, because I'm excited to see that part of it too. I'm sure everybody, if you haven't already, you have a bloated Excel spreadsheet keeping track of all that data. So it'd be nice to have it all in one cohesive place. So thanks for all the innovation you guys are offering for the community and all the Amazon sellers, and allowing us to use these tools to build our Amazon business and create something successful. So we appreciate all of your innovation and contribution to the community.
Thank you very much. It's something I'm really passionate about. That's like what gets me excited to get out of bed every morning. It's just like, one, building my, my own business, and two, and even what's more exciting for me is just like helping entrepreneurs do that. So that's definitely like our mission here at Jungle Scout, is just to help entrepreneurs like you guys are watching this right now be successful on Amazon. So that's kind of what drives everything we do.
Well, thank you, Greg, for joining me today and taking the time to share with us this new tool. I'll leave links in the video description for anyone that's interested in checking it out. And be sure to jump over to Jungle Scout's channel. They have tons of valuable content there as well to help you build a successful Amazon FBA business. I'll leave links to their channel in the video description as well. And if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. All right? Thanks, Greg. I look forward to hosting you on my channel again in the future.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, you know what to do. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you never miss a video, click that bell icon to turn on notifications. There's also a link in the video description to our community forums, which you should totally join. And if you're looking for more tips and strategy videos, click or tap over here. And as always, thanks for watching.